Hi there, this is Joe from ShopTo, and I'm joined by Dan, and this is our review of Final Fantasy Explorers. It's for 3DS. Dan's been reviewing this one, so he's going to tell us about it.
It's an interesting game, actually. I mean, the plot itself is really light on content, and I've got to be honest, it's quite a good thing, considering the previous Final Fantasy games have been a bit sort of convoluted and a bit too heavy going. Basically, you're an explorer and you're hunting for rare crystals, and your journey's led you to this mysterious island. On the island, you've got a small port town called Libertas, which allows you to prepare for the many battles that will take place against the hundreds of monsters that lurk throughout the island itself. I mean, though it's got a simple story, there's quite a lot of details and depth to the game that keep you hooked throughout it. You've got loads of customization, be it from your special moves to your weapons, and a lot more to which I mentioned later on. I mean, you start off as a... Go on.
So I was just going to say, how does it look on the 3DS?
It looks like a 3DS game. It's not 3D, which is a bit strange. I don't know why they've done that. Maybe it's a processing or not. So it's 2D graphics. It's a 3D world, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you expect from the 3DS. It does look good, actually. I'm very surprised that you've got a good depth of view. Lots of monsters populate the land. It's very fluid, actually. Even with a lot of monsters, it really manages to keep up the pace on the screen, which is quite impressive.
Is it your usual sort of stats on the bottom and action on the top sort of game, is it? Where you can
Not
access...
necessarily. I really like the layout, actually. I think when you say all the stats and stuff, there probably is, but I'm not even paying much attention to them because the action's all on the top screen. Top screen's obviously given away just to all the action. The bottom screen, you've got a little map on there. You also have a couple of touch buttons as well, plus targeting buttons. So if you've got larger and small monsters, if you want to focus on small monsters, you tap on it and then your cursor aims for small monsters, and the same applies to larger ones.
What's Final Fantasy about it?
The characters, really, and the monsters as well. I mean, you start off as a freelancer. All the characters in the game, rather than classes, you have jobs. So your character that you start in the game, you create them initially, you give them their own eyes and face or whatever you fancy. And then as you progress through the game, you unlock more and more jobs, which, as a class, offers new weapons and a lot more skills. So you can pick from things like a Beastmaster, a Bard, a Dark Knight or a Mage, to something a bit more simple, like just a dude with a sword, an axe, or a club or something like that. So there's a good mixture of weapons to pick from. Each one having their own attributes to bring to the game. So they each have their own set of special moves and things like that. The sword guys have slashes. The mages, you can summon fire attacks or freezing attacks, things like that.
Is it like an open world sort of game that you can move around and go where you want, or is it more linear than that?
The world opens up slowly as you play through. What it is, it's a game of lots of little hubs. I don't know if it's going to be hard to sort of explain the game without mentioning Monster Hunter, because it is a Monster Hunter game. Right. I'd almost say Monster Hunter Lite, because I feel it's a lot easier to control than the Monster Hunter games. Something about Monster Hunter, I really want to enjoy it and play and love, but there are some sort of the mechanics just really wind me up. This gets rid of all that. It's a lot more focused on just push a button to attack, hold a trigger button, and then another button to use a special move, give it a few seconds to charge up and attack even more. It's great for that.
Right. So what's the sort of standout thing about it, in your opinion?
It's the depth, I think. Though the hub worlds, you do repeat visit a lot, there's a huge grind involved here. However, all the monsters you kill, you loot them. The more loot you get, the more weapons you build, the more armor you can build. Then you start taking on bosses and they give you rare items, and again you build from that as well. What really I was very impressed with, though, is the level of customization of your special moves. The more you use them, and the more Crystal Surges, which is like an extra special move that unlocks after a certain time, they start to mutate, and you're able to combine and mutate more and more special moves together, creating some really impressive moves that could wipe out enemies in seconds.
Cool.
or like set them on fire and just walk away and just leave them burning. It's a really cool idea.
So is it quite a good one for sort of fans and newcomers alike to the Final Fantasy?
For Final Fantasy fans, they're going to love it because not only do you get to fight against a lot of the monsters, but you also get to catch them. You get to create your own monsters, actually bring them on the field with you. So there's a lot of classic monsters that you would have fought against years ago in old Final Fantasy games are now fighting with you side by side,
right?
Which is really good. Also, the big bosses are just classic monsters that you would have seen from the games in the past as well. What does work really well as well in this game is the mixture of solo and multiplayer. You can play it either way. However, if you play it in solo, it gets really hard really quick. Even when you start cultivating your own monsters and leveling them up, some of the later levels get tough. So what you can do is you just join online. You can either join or create games, really easily done, and then you're just running around as a group of people just taking on loads of monsters. Perfectly done. It's one of the best multiplayer experiences I've had on a 3DS in a long time.
That sounds good. Okay, so what would you say is the best parts, best good points?
It's Monster Hunter Lite, which is a pro and a con. It hasn't got the extreme depth that the Monster Hunter games has, but I find it a lot more accessible, and I really enjoyed it for that. Okay. Great multiplayer and loads of grinding and loads to unlock. The negative side, I would say again, it's because it is Monster Hunter Lite. The fans of Monster Hunter might find it a little bit disappointing.
Okay.
And the grind can get a bit laborious after a while.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Don't forget that you can order Final Fantasy Explorers from ShopTo.net. And please remember to like and subscribe to our videos. Thanks for now. Bye.